What are Americans? How did the characteristics of American culture found by John de Crevecoeur compare to those later identified by Alexis de Tocqueville? In this lesson, we will discuss Alexis de Tocqueville's 5 values crucial to America's success as a constitutional republic. What are Americans? We have found out that colonists fought the American Revolution to gain their unalienable rights the king had been taken from them. We know the Declaration of Independence explained our issues with England and expressed our desires for freedom. We created the Constitution to limit the powers of a government and to protect our individual freedoms. We also discovered how Americans came to be a people. But what are Americans? As the American Revolution came to an end and a new United States began to grow, some people began to notice that America was much different than Europe. In Europe, there were still hereditary social classes, people that were born rich, with little chance of advancement for those born poor. Land in Europe was owned by a few wealthy families, and there was very little land available for people to buy. In Germany, there were people with a common German ancestry. In France, they were French. In England, they were English, and so on and so on. But in America, a new society developed. Opportunities were there for those who chose to work for them. Americans were everything from everywhere, a huge mixture of nationalities that had never been before seen. Hector St. John de Crevecoeur was a French immigrant who came to America in the mid-1700s. St. John de Crevecoeur wrote a book, Letters to an American Farmer, describing the new American society. He was impressed by the melting pot, mixing of people, the natural resources available, the absence of kings and nobles, and the willingness of the Americans to work hard to improve their lives. Alexis de Tocqueville was sent to America by the French government to study the American prison system. De Tocqueville wrote Democracy in America, in which he tried to identify how the new Americans were different from the European society they had come from. De Tocqueville observed that Americans differed because of their social equality and had an overriding concern with money. De Tocqueville's take on the USA. De Tocqueville had 5 values he found important to America's success as a constitutional republic. The first one is egalitarianism, and it refers to equality in society. Europe had been built around distinct hereditary classes, which separated the nobles from the middle class and the poor. In America, everyone was socially equal, except slaves and Native Americans. The availability of land and the ability of anyone owning in America was unheard of in Europe. The second value was populism, and it refers to the participation of the common people in government. De Tocqueville found that in American society, everyone had the same right to take part in their government. Liberty was the third value, and it refers to the protection from a tyrannical or all-powerful government. Tocqueville found Americans devoted to rule of law or federal system prevented an all-powerful government. The fourth value that Tocqueville found was individualism. Individualism refers to the ability of people to decide what type of groups or organizations they wish to be part of. Individuals were free to rise as high in society as their work took them, or as low. Now the fifth value was laissez-faire, and it refers to the hands-off approach by the government to our economy. De Tocqueville felt that the individual was the best judge of their own interest, not the government.